Good morning. Wow, is anybody excited yet? My name is Mike Michaud, he, him, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick. UUCB is located on the ancestral homelands of the Wabanaki people, who have deep, enduring, and ongoing relationships with Brunswick's lands and waterways. We acknowledge the painful legacy of the region's colonial history and commit to better understanding it. We will work to recognize and welcome the presence and concerns of the Wabanaki, whose people and culture live within and contribute to the vitality of this community we share. Today is Sunday, April 27th, and our guest speaker today is Reverend Jane Field, and she has some biographical information in the order of service. She is an ordained Presbyterian minister who has served Presbyterian, Episcopal, Methodist, and Lutheran churches in New York, Connecticut, and Maine, and who has worked for domestic violence programs in New Jersey and Connecticut. She currently serves on the board of directors of the Maine Coalition to End Domestic Violence, and there's more info in the order of service. Today's reflection is titled, "Every Scar Tells a Story," and the music is performed by Will Bristol. And if you are, Ambrosia, I can't forget. Ambrosia, yes, our church trio over here will be performing a number of songs. And if you're new or visiting today and would like more information about our congregation, please stop at the visitors table in the fellowship hall. Folks there will be happy to answer any of your questions. In the interest of safety, please note that there are 2 exits from the sanctuary. One is the door that you came in through, and there's a second exit over there next to the AV booth, and there is a third all the way back past the bathrooms and past the classrooms way out back. So, announcements. There's an announcement from the Holiday Fair team. They will be meeting after church on Sunday, May 4th. All are welcome. Please see Debbie Atwood with any questions. Is Debbie here today? She's the one with the tinsel right there. And now Mike Heath has an announcement for the auction committee.
Good morning. My name is Michael Heath, and along with Betsy Williams and Sue Michaud, we are leading a great team of volunteers to launch the Community Adventures Events and Services Auction. You've probably heard of it. Today I have great news from the auction team. Over the last 3 weeks, we've amassed almost 70 offers of day trips, dinners, lessons, cookies and pies, tickets, and services. All of these are provided by members and friends of UUCB, and bidding starts on Thursday this week. It'll all be online, and the link to the auction website is on the announcement handout, and there are other handouts, mostly in black and white, on the auction table if you'd like to take one. There's also a sheet of all of the different items that are in the auction. So if you want to just scan those before you actually go into the site to register, you can just check out all the exciting things that are available. It's really pretty cool. If you or somebody you know might be a little bit intimidated by going online and registering and bidding online. We are going to have 3 different sessions to walk people through it, where you can bring your own device to church after church on next Sunday or the Sunday after, or Thursday, what's the date? Thursday, Thursday the 8th? Okay, Thursday the 8th, here in the May Sarton room. And we'll walk anybody who wants to bring their device so that everybody can participate. This will be a great auction with lots of fun things to do and eat for the winning bidders. The auction team has gone through a test auction to understand how the bidding works, and I can say that it is really fun. Especially at the end, when the bidding gets tight. Don't forget to get the link, and from May 1st through the 16th, bid high and bid often.
And Jill Shear will make another announcement for Working for Justice.
Hello, I'm Jill Scherer, and Faith Barnes and I co-chair the Working for Justice Steering Group. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm really here to invite you. We're very, very excited about an event that's coming up in less than 3 weeks. And it is, you might have seen flyers for this, but it is the What is Your Social Change Role Partner Fair, which is a lot of words. But this is a very special event. This whole sanctuary will be cleared out. There'll be tables all around from all our focus groups. If you are new to the church and you don't know about the many, many things that this group does, for example, there's gun violence prevention focus group, immigrant justice, indigenous awareness, on and on. Many things are happening. If you don't know about them, this is the place to learn about them. So we will have people from the focus groups, but also representatives from the partner organizations out in the wider community. It's a really great opportunity for you if you have been kind of sitting and wondering, what can I do? You know, I see what's going on, I want to help, but I don't know how. And there's so many different ways you can help. You know, you don't have to be an extrovert, you don't have to be testifying at the State House, at the Capitol. Maybe you want to just email legislators, or you want to cook a meal for the gathering place. There are so many ways for all types of people to help. So this fair will take place on Saturday, May 17th from 11 until 1, 2 hours. There will be refreshments. If there's something there, you can go from table to table, talking to all these people. If there's something that really piques your interest, you can see yourself fitting into, you just leave your name and email, and someone will get back to you after the fair. So please consider coming. We think it's very important to get more people engaged in this very important work. Thank you.
So as we begin the service today, please silence your mobile devices. Once again, welcome, and we are glad you're here.
flowing like a river, flowing out from you and me, flowing out into the desert, setting all the captives free. Joy is flowing like a river, flowing out from you and me, flowing out into the desert, setting all the captives free. Peace is flowing like a river, flowing out from you and me, flowing out into the desert, setting all the captives free.
Good morning. I am Cheryl Martin. I use the pronoun she, her.
I'm Steve Martin. I use the pronouns he, him.
This is a poem by Pat Uribe Lichty called Different Yet United. We come from many places, along different paths, bringing different truths. We come with different histories and different realities. And yet we come together as one people with faith that we can use our differences to heal ourselves and each other to bring wholeness to a fractured world. We come seeking to find community, to find acceptance of who we are. In this place, we may find others who are much like us and others who are much different. May our lit chalice remind us that we are a people taught by different stories, with many voices, but always one people working for a world where love creates justice and justice gives birth to peace.
Good morning. My name is Mary Larson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the worship associate for this service, and I'm really happy to have worked with Reverend Jane Field to help get this service going. Jane has been here before, and she does all kinds of things in our state to support minority groups and gun violence and domestic violence. She's a very busy woman, and I'm happy she had time to come here. We have chosen to bring ourselves here to this sanctuary to gather as a community of faith, as a covenant, a promise of the unanswerable. We draw on experiences of love and wonder to fill our hearts and move us beyond the mundane. As seekers, wanderers, appreciators of nature, connoisseurs of curiosity, and creators of connection, our paths have converged today so that we might become present to the spirit that is worship. And so, let us worship together. We are going to have our opening hymn, number 360, from our gray hymnal, Here We Have Gathered. Please stand as you are able and join in our song.
heart to come forward and join me here on the steps, if there are any. And yes, my name is not Tobin Cooney Kalnan, but you're still welcome to come forward for a really quick story we have this morning. How you doing? Did you have a good break? Did you guys, most of you went on vacation from your school this week? You were away. Did anyone go anywhere that they didn't expect? Any interesting place? Boston? Okay. Philadelphia, nice. Concord, very cool. Okay, so today's service, we have this theme a little bit throughout the service, and it's based on the word doubt. Can you guys take a moment and tell me what you think that means? What does the word doubt mean for you? Does it mean something good? Is it something that you feel sometimes? Yeah.
Doubt means like something that like if you doubt something, you like think that it like might not like work or something.
It might not work, yeah. If you're doubting in something, you're not as sure maybe if something will work out. Yeah, River.
Sometimes you can be doubtful with other people and yourself, kind of like Holden said. You can be like you're doubting someone, like you can't do that, that's impossible, or like doubting yourself, like I can't do this, this is impossible.
Hi, so you have something to say? You want to hold this, actually?
I feel like doubt means like does not fully trust, whether that's yourself or something else. It's, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I feel often that I doubt myself too. So everyone, I think, feels that way at some point in time. And Tobin, he told me that this story that we're going to read today is actually about animals, that animals can doubt themselves too, apparently. Did you ever think about that? That animals can doubt themselves? Yeah. Okay, so you guys can look up here. We have some little pictures that I'll share with you. This is called Doubt. The name of the book is Doubt. See this? It's the first one. Whoops, here we go. Okay, what should I wear today? You guys see it? What should I wear today? Am I as cute as they say? Yeah. I like this one. Can I undo it? That's me. Do I dare? Do I dare? See that? Yeah, you can look up there. It's probably bigger too. How long will I have to wait? What will I be when I grow up? What will I be when I grow up? Do you see me? Will I like it? Are these my parents? Yeah. Takes a moment. Did I do it? Did I do it right? Did I do it right? I like this one too. Which way should I go? I have so many doubts, don't you? Okay, and we're going to sing you out to your activity. You're going to do a craft all together straight back in the big room today, okay? So if everyone would please sing you out. We will keep a place for you wherever you may go. We'll sustain this home of faith and love you've come to know. Go in peace, bring home to us again. We will keep a place for you till you return.
Good morning. My name's Mary Kay Harrington. My pronouns are she, her. As many of you probably know, Pope Francis died Monday, this past Monday, one day after Easter Sunday, after his last journey around Rome, where he spoke to tens of thousands of his worshipers. I think God planned that one just right. He served as Pope of the Catholic Church for just over 12 years. He was noted for his mercy and striving for more acceptance and inclusivity in the church. He took his work very seriously, but every day he prayed, "Lord, give me a sense of humor." He didn't take himself too seriously. He was a pope of the people. He was buried yesterday at St. Mary Major, outside the Vatican. He didn't want to follow the pomp and circumstance of all the other popes. He wanted to be buried among the people in a very simple, marked grave. This is a poem by John Rodell called The Pope of Compassion. He never raised his voice. He just helped the world unclench a little. He wasn't a fist. His life wasn't a shout to obey. He was an open palm. His life was a soft call to be compassionate. He didn't light bonfires. He reminded us of our own light. He didn't lead with power. He just kept choosing mercy. Of course, as a soul who was entangled with humanity, he made mistakes, but his kindness was never one of them. Now his absence feels like a window closed, somewhere deep inside me, and I didn't realize how much light had been coming through. O Pope Francis, may the perpetual light shine upon you.
Try to do it without that. Good morning. I'm Willow Whitehouse, and I'm a proud member of the Pastoral Care Associates, and I use she and her pronouns. And I'm going to read the joys and concerns for this morning. Under concerns, we have tomorrow, Adair Delamater will undergo a 4th surgery on her right ankle. She would appreciate healing thoughts to be sent her way. And this one is from me. My dear friend Tricia from UU Auburn passed away suddenly from a brain aneurysm last week. I had the privilege of going to a concert where they sang a beautiful song that she wrote. And please offer prayers and healing energy to her family. And I would add as joys all the beautiful flowers that are showing up all over town and the incredibly exciting and fun music that we heard this morning before the service. If you are not attending in-person services and would like a joy or concern read from this pulpit, you can send an email to joys-and-concerns@uucb.org. If you would like to talk with one of us after the service, look for the blue light ribbons on our name tags, the light blue ribbons. Our names are also in the order of worship. We would be happy to meet with you or meet with you later. We offer a listening ear and presence. And I'm also going to read the pastoral prayer for this morning. We lift up every joy, we hold up every hurt, by Tess Baumberger. Spirit of life and Spirit of grace, rest with us this day in this place. We lift up every joy, every gladness. We hold up every hurt, every sadness, spoken in this good company, as well as in every secret feeling held quietly in the hollows of our hearts.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. And change will come to you. Be the voice you want to hear in the world. Be the voice you want to hear in the world. Be the voice you want to hear in the world, and change will come to you. Be the light you want to see in the world. Be the light you want to shine in the world. Be the light you want to shine in the world, and change will come to you. Be the joy you want to hear in the world. Be the joy you want to hear in the world. Be the joy you want to hear in the world, and change will come to you.
Good morning. My name is Al Cressy. I use the pronouns he and him. This morning's reading is from a sermon by Episcopal Bishop Don Wimberly. Jesus was a doubter. He was a doubter about the Judaic notion of a warlord Messiah. He was a doubter that without strict adherence to the law, it was impossible to be a right relationship with God. Don't despise your doubt. Honor it. It's one of those noblest capacities of yours. The faith you merely inherit without ever questioning and struggling with it will never truly be your own.
This song is Chico Gospel. It has elements of doubt as well as joy, our monthly theme. And I'm going to ask you to help me out with the snaps, because it's... There was a time I believed life was over for me. There was a time I believed my life was over. I feel strong today, thanks to your help I'll find my way. And I too will lend you a hand when you need one. Sometimes I get so down, I feel like this is the end, like there's no way in hell I can get over this mountain. The sun has come out beyond the shadow of my doubt. I am walking on this earth stronger than ever. There was a time I believed there'd be no love for me. There was a time I believed I'd get no loving. I feel love today, thanks to your help. I'll find my way, and I too will lend you a hand when you need one. Sometimes I get so down, I feel like this is the end, like there's no way in hell I can get over this mountain. The sun has come out beyond the shadow of my doubt. I am walking on this earth stronger than ever. There was a time I believed there'd be no joy for me. There was a time I believed I'd feel no joy. I feel joy today, thanks to your help. I'll find my way, and I too will lend you a hand when you need one. Join if you'd like. Sometimes I get so down, I feel like this is the end, like there's no way in hell I can get over this mountain. The sun has come out beyond the shadow of my doubt. I am walking on this earth stronger than ever. Again. I am walking on this earth stronger than ever. One more time. I am walking on this earth stronger than ever.
As you heard, my name is Jane. I use she, her pronouns, and I bring you greetings from the Maine Council of Churches, where I serve as the executive director. And your denomination is a faithful member and, in fact, a founding member. In 1938, you all, probably not you all, but your denomination was there at the very beginning. Uh-oh. I thought that was my... It's not mine that went over. Oh, thank goodness, because the top was off. There'd be a flood up here. For those of us, and maybe some of you, who practice Christianity, and practice is the right word for me, I keep thinking if I practice long enough, maybe I'll finally get good at it. Anyways, for us Christians, this is the Sunday after Easter. It's traditionally when we tell one of the stories of the risen Christ's appearances to his followers in the days after his crucifixion. Some years we tell the story of the road to Emmaus. Other years it's the story of doubting Thomas, the guy who would not believe that his friend and teacher, Jesus, had risen from the dead unless he saw and touched, I don't know why he needed to touch them, but he said he did, the scars in Jesus' hands and feet, scars left by the nails that were used to fix him to a cross in a state execution carried out by the Roman Empire and facilitated by the religious authorities of Jesus' own people. And some years, we tell the story as Luke tells it. It's like the doubting Thomas story, only without doubting Thomas. And I should read my Bible before I talk to Mary on the phone and think I just know what the Bible passage is going to be that I'm preaching on, because I gave her the one from John, which does have doubting Thomas in it, and I'm actually preaching on the one from Luke, which, lo and behold, does not have doubting Thomas in it. Listen to this translation of the story by biblical scholar Sarah Rudin. Now, it's a story that begins with the 11 disciples. They're down a man from 12 because of Judas's betrayal. They kicked him out of the club. There are 11 in Jerusalem, all together in a room, wondering what to do now that their leader is gone. Then Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, "Peace to you." They were stunned and terrified, thinking they were seeing a spirit. But he said to them, "Why are you disturbed? And what's the reason these doubts are coming up in your hearts? Look at my hands and my feet, and you'll know it's me in person. Touch me and see, because a spirit doesn't have flesh and bones, as you can observe that I have." And having said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. But when sheer joy and astonishment still kept them from believing, he said to them, "Do you have anything here that's fit to eat?" I knew I liked him. Do you got anything to eat? So they gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and ate it right in front of them. Then he opened their minds so that they could understand, saying there would be a new purpose for them, and saying, "I'm going to send what my Father promised to alight on you. So keep living in the city until you've been clothed with power." Here ends the lesson from the Gospel of Luke, not John. I won't make that mistake again. When I was doing youth ministry, and I did that for 25 years, I discovered the perfect icebreaker to use with groups of kids. Middle schoolers, high schoolers, college kids, their age didn't matter. It worked every time. I simply had everyone sit in a circle, and then I asked each person to think of a scar that they had and to tell the story of how they got it. Now, unfortunately, some kids were as uninhibited as President Lyndon B. Johnson when he lifted up his shirt and showed everyone at a press conference the scar from his recent surgery. So I learned pretty quick in my icebreaker that I had to lay down some rules. Depending on the location of your scar, we might want a tell but don't show rule. When we played the scar story icebreaker, kids would clamor to go first. Know anything you know, that's youth ministry gold. As I'm sure you can imagine, some of the stories were hilarious. Explained how he got the 2.5-inch scar on the top of his head by playing a game of Izzy Dizzy in his college dormitory hallway. Do you guys know what that game is? Well, I'll tell you. One night, he and his fellow future rocket scientists of America decided it would be a great idea to get all of their mattresses off their beds, drag them down to one end of the hallway, and create this kind of cushy gymnastics pad. And then in front of the soft landing, they set up mattresses to make a goalpost, 2 upright, 1 across. It was a hurdle. And the plan was for each guy to take a turn putting their forehead on a baseball bat that was standing upright, and then spinning around it as fast as they could 20 times, and then running down the hallway and launching themselves through the goalpost to land in the mattresses. The kid explaining the scar to us announced he was contestant number 1. And he was the only contestant. Because after spinning around and around that baseball bat, he stood up, and he was so dizzy he couldn't walk in a straight line. And in his attempt to run down the hallway and vault through the goalpost, he went sideways and crashed his head into a steel fire door. I kid you not, he finished his story by saying, "We laughed all the way to the emergency room." Other scar stories that kids shared were profoundly serious, like the middle school girl Amanda, who had spent most of her childhood enduring a series of painful operations to correct a hip and leg deformity, and she had the scars to prove it. Or the high school boy who showed us a scar on his arm that he got when he was pulled from the tangled wreckage of a car accident when he was 8. It was an accident that killed his mother and his little brother. Now, most of the scar stories were somewhere in between, hilarious and horrific. There were some appendectomy scars, there were lots of chickenpox scars, and a litany of bicycle crashes and falls from high places and sports injuries. But everybody had a scar story that they were eager to share. And I'm guessing it would be the same in this room. Maybe you're already thinking of, God, if I was playing this game, I know what scar I would talk about. If I were playing, I could tell you about when I was 7, and my little brother and I were in the driveway one 4th of July waving lit sparklers. And when my little brother's sparkler went out, he quickly turned to his big sister, who took care of everything, held out the thin wire and said, "Here." And on reflex, I reached out my hand and I grabbed it like it was a relay race baton. And I let out a scream as the hot metal branded my thumb and forefinger. And I'm 62 and the scars are still there. And if he was here today, he'd be like, "Would you quit? Really?" It's like 50 some years ago. Let it go. Or, on the serious side, I could tell the story of the 5 scars I have across my abdomen from the surgery that removed cancer from my body 9 years ago. Or, back to funny, maybe I could tell the story of how I got these holes in my earlobes when I was 10 and my mother finally let me get my ears pierced. In this morning's reading from Luke, Jesus tells his frightened disciples his own scar story. "Why are you frightened? And why do doubts arise in your hearts?" he asks them. "Look at my hands. Look at my feet. It's really me." He doesn't say, "Look into my eyes." He doesn't say, "Look at my face. You guys know me." He says, "Look at my hands and my feet." Why? Because that's where his scars are. Scars from the nails that pinned him to the cross until he died a gruesome and painful death. Scars from those wounds, by the way, that those 11 in the room didn't see him get. Because as soon as they realized what was going to happen to Jesus on that awful Friday morning, they ran. They ran away and they hid, where they could not see the blood or hear the hammers. P.S. The women did not run. They stayed. But these 11, they ran. They abandoned him to suffer alone in agony on the cross, so they never saw his wounds. And now he tells them, "Look at my scars." But I'm certain he didn't do that as a way to punish them for abandoning him. He wasn't trying to send them on a guilt trip. On the contrary, he was trying to reassure them. It's really me, not some ghost. You don't have to be afraid. You can tell this is what he meant by the way they react, because they don't fall down on their knees sobbing and begging for forgiveness. No, Luke says they became joyful, which is your theme this month, joyful and full of wonder. By showing them his hands and feet, by telling them his scar story, I think Jesus is showing them what the resurrection really means and what Easter is all about. Barbara Brown Taylor, who's one of my favorite preachers in the Christian tradition, writes beautifully about this moment. When the disciples looked at the risen Christ's hands and feet, they saw everything he had ever been to them, she writes. They saw the hands that had broken bread and blessed broiled fish, holding it out to them over and over again. They saw the hands that had pressed mud against a blind man's eyes to restore his sight, hands that had taken a dead girl by the hand so that she rose and walked. They saw the hands that danced through the air as he taught, the same hands that reached out to touch a leper without pausing or holding back. And his feet, the ones that had carried him hundreds of miles, taking his good news to all who were starving for it, into the homes of criminals and corrupt bureaucrats, whom he treated each one like long-lost kin, into a graveyard where the Gerasene demoniac lived among the dead, whom he freed from his devils forever. Looking at those feet, they probably remembered just a few nights ago the woman who had wet them with her tears and dried them with her hair. Or maybe they remembered the time that Mary, who had sat at his feet, while her sister Martha nagged her to get up and get in the kitchen and help. Those hands and feet, they were wounded now. The hands that had joined him to other people and the feet that had joined him to the earth. They had holes in them, sore, angry-looking bruises that must have made the disciples wince to look at. Jesus shows them his scars to remind those of us who practice Christianity that we can't simply skip from Palm Sunday celebrations to Easter morning. The scars help us remember the dark days in between and the suffering Jesus went through. If the risen Christ didn't have any scars to show the disciples that first Easter night, and instead his hands and feet had appeared miraculously mended and manicured, then we might wrongly assume that the cross was easy, and that Christ bore no pain, really. But the scars tell a different story. So what if Jesus had appeared to the disciples without scars? I mean, don't you think it's weird? If God could manage to raise somebody from the dead, couldn't God have healed a couple of scars in hands and feet? So was it a mistake? Was it an oversight on God's part? I don't think so. I believe God conquered the power of death, but let the scars remain. Anything else, anything less, would trivialize the struggle, trivialize the power of evil in the world, trivialize the resurrection. If God had healed Jesus' wounds, if God had erased any evidence of the agony, left no trace of scars on him, the disciples would have had reason to doubt that the Jesus they had known and loved was ever really truly human. And it would make us question if he truly understood the human pain and suffering we go through. Jesus, despite the glory of the resurrection, still bears the wounds of his experience of God with us on earth. Because the resurrection didn't remove his human experience. Risen, he still bears on his body the scars that speak of his solidarity with human suffering in all of its forms. Those scars serve as a reminder that God is with us through all things, especially the appalling, destructive, and death-dealing times. The image of the risen Christ with wounds in his hands and feet reminds us that when we suffer, so does God. When we cry out in loneliness, so does God. When we feel abandoned and alone, we can remember Jesus hung on the cross and said, "Why have you forsaken me?" We don't have a God that stands at a distance, but rather one that fully enters into the reality of our pain. So when we suffer, we know Jesus can say, "I've been there, and I have the wounds to prove it. I've told you my scar story. Now you tell me yours." And we need to hear that, I think, because scars, whether they're visible to the eye or not, are something we all have in common, we all share. No one gets through this life without collecting a few scars. In fact, we begin our life by getting a scar. At the moment we're born, our belly button is the first scar that we get. There's something we have in common, and there's something we have in common with Jesus of Nazareth. A friend of mine once told me that she was going through a horrifically terrible time in her life. She wasn't a particularly religious woman, and the reason she was telling me the story was to say, "You're not going to believe it, but I actually went in a Christian bookstore." That's how desperate she was. She was looking for something to read, something to hang on to, that would help her weather the storm. And as she stood just kind of baffled looking at the shelves, this very soft-spoken saleswoman came up and said, "Do you need some help?" That was a loaded question, and she just burst into tears. So the saleswoman kindly patted her and stepped away for a minute, went to a jewelry case, and came back with this little tiny crucifix, a slender silver chain with a cross that had Jesus still hung on his cross, a face drawn in pain. And she said to her, "Wear this." She pressed it into her hands. "Only a suffering God can help." She was quoting Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German Lutheran pastor who opposed the Nazis during World War II, and who was eventually arrested by the Gestapo in 1943 and executed for treason 2 years later, just a couple weeks before the war ended. He was executed for treason for leading a part of the German resistance to Hitler. Supposedly, a prison guard found a piece of paper in Bonhoeffer's cell with that line scribbled on it, and he smuggled it out to Bonhoeffer's family shortly before his death. Only a suffering God can help. It's a central message of the meaning of Easter and the power of resurrection for us practicing but not perfect Christians. But it's not the only message. Jesus didn't come back just to help us or make us feel better. Jesus came back to give us a purpose and a mission. The last words he spoke to the disciples in that room, as the Gospel of Luke tells it, aren't words of comfort. There, it's bunnies and rainbows and unicorns and everything's okay. No, they're words of commission. After he shows them his scars, he says, "See, I'm sending you out as witnesses, and God will clothe you with power to carry out the work you need to do." Jesus sends them, sends us, scars and all, to be his hands and feet in the world, to be the body of Christ, which is one of the ways we talk about what the church is. That means when the world looks around for Jesus today, it's us Christians they look at. We're the body of Christ. And these days, that is deeply troubling, should be anyway, given the rise of white Christian nationalism. That's a form of political idolatry that distorts authentic Christianity through a xenophobic and racialized and militarized gospel. And those of us who call ourselves Christian have a responsibility, an obligation to refute it. One way we can do that, one way we can all do it, is by the way we live out our faith and put it into action. So that when the world looks around for that risen Christ, they don't look at our faces or our eyes or our bank accounts. They look at our hands and our feet. What have we done with our hands, and where have our feet taken us, and what scars have we gotten along the way? We are the wounded hands and feet of Jesus, and our scars might be just what the world needs to see right now. The world, in my opinion, does not need people who have it all figured out, don't have any doubts, and they think they know what they should tell the rest of us to believe. The world needs to see scars that look just like theirs and feel just like theirs. The world needs to meet broken, wounded people who've encountered a wounded, broken God whose love is unbreakable, who redeems the story of every scar, and who, from pain and death, has the power to bring new life. I recognize preaching this sermon to a room full of Unitarian Universalists the Sunday after Easter is a little bit Jesus-y. Sorry about that. I'm a Presbyterian, I can't help myself. But I think it's also the perfect opportunity for you all to help those of us who are in the Christian church. Because you look at us from the outside in. You're in a unique position to hold us accountable, to practice what we preach, to make sure we're staying humble enough to allow our scars to heal others, to bring new life. You all can let us know how we're doing, Keep us on track, because God knows that train has come so far off the tracks so many times, including right now, with the rise of Christian nationalism. We need you. We need our siblings in faith from other traditions to hold us accountable for refuting the hate and the harm that's being perpetrated by some who claim to be Christians but aren't. We need you to hold us accountable for living in a way that reflects the values Jesus of Nazareth actually taught: humility, compassion, courage, solidarity with those on the margins, service to others, speaking truth to power. So can we make a deal that when you see us slipping, call us out? Because the stakes today are too high for mistakes. Like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, we are faced with a choice right now. Will we be chaplains of fascism or prophets of justice and peace? Will we tell the stories of our scars in order to heal a broken world, or will we weaponize our faith in order to inflict scars on those who are weak or different or living at the margin? I hope and I pray we'll have the courage that Bonhoeffer did, to speak truth to power, to be willing to put everything on the line to protect our neighbors and defend the soul of our democracy. In the fervent hope that you Unitarian Universalists will help us do it, I invite you to be in a spirit of prayer with me right now, using the words of Teresa of Avila. God has no body now on earth but ours, no hands, no feet on earth but ours. Ours are the eyes with which God looks with compassion on this world. Ours are the feet with which God walks to do good. Ours are the hands with which God blesses all the world. Ours are the hands, ours are the feet, ours are the eyes, ours is the body. God has no body now but ours, no hands, no feet on earth but ours. Amen.
Now is the time in our service where we receive your weekly offering. All of our cash contributions, non-pledge contributions, will be shared with a charity with soul. And this month's charity of soul with soul is Big Brothers and Sisters. Please give generously.
Our song, The Trees Are Dancing, is a joyful song supporting our theme of joy for this month, but it's also a little sneak peek at what's coming next month. The theme for next month is imagination. The trees are dancing.
I had a dream that the trees were swaying. I had a dream that the trees could sing. I had a dream that the trees were praying. I had a dream that the trees could dance. The trees are swaying. I thought the wind was blowing, but the air is still. The trees are dancing. The trees are swaying. I thought the wind was blowing, but the air is still. The trees are dancing. The trees are dancing. They're free to bend and sway, moving night and day, and though are waving, moving in and out together. Branches come alive. The trees are dancing, waving, dancing, dancing. The leaves are waving, moving in and out together. Branches come alive. The trees are dancing, they're dancing. They're free to bend and sway, moving both night and day. And though they can't run away, they're free to dance. The trees are singing. If I listen with my heart, I can hear their song. The trees are singing. The trees are dancing, dancing. The trees are singing. If I listen with my heart, I can hear their song. See how the trees are dancing. They're dancing. They're free to bend and sway, moving, moving night and day. And though they can't run away, they're free to dance, to dance. The trees are praying. The trees are praying. If I listen with my heart, I can hear the trees. If I listen with my heart, I can hear their prayers. The trees are dancing. They're free. Trees are free. Free to stand and sway. They're free to move. They're free to move. All night and day. And though they cannot run away, they pray they may dance. The trees are swaying. I thought the wind was blowing, but the air was still. The trees are dancing. They're dancing. The trees are swaying. I thought the wind was blowing, but the air is still. The trees are dancing. They're dancing and they're free. The trees are free to bend and sway. They're moving, moving night and day. Though they can't run away, they're free, free to dance. They're free to dance. They're free, free to dance. May there always be trees, free to dance.
Please join me in our congregational response. May these offerings sustain and grow the work of this church, weaving a tapestry of love and action. Thank you. Please join me in our closing hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
Free
Our closing words are by Michael Schuler. Cherish your doubts, for doubt is the servant of truth. Question your convictions, for beliefs too tightly held strangle the mind and its natural wisdom. Suspect all certitudes, for the world whirls on, nothing abides. Yet in our inner rooms full of doubt, inquiry, and suspicion, let a corner be reserved for trust. For without trust, there is no space for communities to gather or for friendships to be forged. Indeed, this is the small corner where we connect and reconnect with each other. Greet your friends and neighbors.
Oh, no, it's good.